The Hidden Goldmine. How Peacock Farming Beats Wall Street Profits. Part 1. The Bird of Kings that can pay your bills. Sunlight dances through the morning mist, painting the earth in gold. A soft rustle breaks the silence. Suddenly, a flash of emerald, sapphire, and gold bursts into view, an explosion of color and majesty. A peacock, tail fanned wide like the living crown, turns the humble backyard into a royal stage. But this isn't just beauty. This is business. For centuries, the peacock has been a symbol of immortality, divinity, and wealth, an icon found in temples, palaces, and myths. From ancient India to the courts of Persia, this bird was reserved for kings and nobles. Owning one meant power. But today, the symbol of royalty has found a new kingdom, right in the backyards of ordinary dreamers. And that kingdom is profitable. Imagine waking up each morning not to the noise of city traffic, but to the gentle call of peacocks shimmering under the sun. Their feathers glint like precious stones, their grace enchanting every visitor. Now, imagine each of those feathers, each chick, each royal display, turning into cash flow. What once adorned thrones can now fill your wallet. Welcome to the Peacock Empire, where beauty meets business, and sustainability meets luxury. Across the world, from rural Vietnam to suburban America, a quiet revolution is unfolding. It's not about giant farms, factory feedlots, or concrete cages. It's about something simpler and far more elegant. People are discovering that the same bird worshipped by emperors can now bring steady income to homesteaders, eco-farmers, and backyard visionaries. Because the peacock is no longer just a symbol, it's a system. In a world obsessed with speed and technology, humans crave something real again. Something organic, something that connects them back to nature. That's why eco-farming and sustainable homesteading are booming industries, worth billions globally. But while many are growing vegetables or raising chickens, a few bold farmers are looking higher, at the shimmering crown of the animal kingdom. The peacock stands at the crossroads of luxury and sustainability. It's rare, self-sufficient, mesmerizing, and deeply symbolic. When raised ethically, it requires less feed than turkeys, less maintenance than ducks, and commands a far higher price in the market. A pair of adult peacocks can sell for hundreds, even thousands, of dollars. Their feathers are used in art, decor, jewelry, and cultural festivals. Their presence turns any property, no matter how modest, into a sanctuary of peace and prestige. But this story isn't about vanity. It's about vision. Because behind every graceful display lies an opportunity. In places like Hai Duong or Bac Ninh in Vietnam, small farmers are turning what was once a hobby into a six-figure enterprise. They raise peacocks under natural conditions, open gardens, shaded trees, clean water, and sell them to eco-parks, luxury resorts, and collectors around the world. No pollution, no waste, just smart, sustainable income. And this model is spreading fast. In the United States, where the homestead movement and eco-tourism are gaining traction, peacock farming fits perfectly. Think about it. Backyard farmers already raise chickens, ducks, or quails. But the peacock? It's not just another bird, it's a brand. Visitors pay to see them. Resorts display them as living art. And influencers post videos that go viral overnight. Each tail spread is a marketing campaign in itself. A single viral clip of a peacock displaying its feathers can reach millions, translating not only into likes and followers, but into real-world sales. And here's the twist: you don't need to be rich to start. Unlike high-tech aquaponics or large-scale livestock farming, peacocks thrive on simplicity. They eat what's available: grains, greens, insects. They don't require vast land or constant supervision. Give them space, safety, and shade, and they'll repay you with feathers, chicks, and charm. Their maintenance cost is low. Their market demand is high. Their lifespan is long, often more than 15 years. That means every bird you raise is a long-term investment. You're not just building a farm, you're building an asset. And perhaps most importantly, you're helping nature. Peacocks are natural pest controllers. They eat insects, snakes, and small pests, reducing the need for chemical pesticides. Their droppings enrich the soil, creating a circular ecosystem that's both clean and profitable. So while others chase unstable stocks or digital fads, imagine investing in something real, something alive, something breathtaking. This is more than a side hustle. It's a lifestyle. A movement that merges art, ecology, and entrepreneurship. A movement that says, yes, farming can be beautiful, and beauty can be profitable. In ancient mythology, the peacock represented the all-seeing eye of the heavens. In today's world, it represents a new kind of vision, the vision of farmers who dare to redefine wealth. They're not digging for gold. They're growing it. Feather by feather. Nest by nest. Dream by dream. From the lush gardens of Asia to the green backyards of America. The royal bird is writing a new story, one where sustainability and prosperity walk hand in hand. So, if you've ever thought farming was too hard, too dirty, or too outdated, think again. The next big wave in sustainable agriculture isn't about plows or machines. It's about elegance, innovation, and harmony with nature. It's about bringing a piece of paradise into your own home, and letting it pay your bills. Because sometimes, the most extraordinary fortunes come from the most unexpected places. And sometimes, they have feathers. Part 2 from sacred symbol to smart investment. Long before Wall Street existed, before people measured success in numbers and screens, the peacock was already the world's symbol of wealth. In ancient India, it wasn't just a bird, it was a divine messenger. Its tail, painted with 1,000 eyes, was said to watch over kings and protect empires. Greek mythology saw the same thing, when the goddess Hera looked into the eyes of a peacock. She saw eternity, renewal, beauty, and power reborn again and again. In Persia, the bird represented heaven itself. In China, it symbolized dignity and prosperity. Wherever the peacock appeared, abundance followed. Fast forward thousands of years, and the same truth still shines: beauty, when cultivated wisely, becomes wealth. But what changed isn't the bird, it's the mindset. For centuries, the peacock was kept as a luxury, something only temples, palaces, and collectors could afford. But today, it's evolving into something much more practical, a sustainable investment that brings together art, ecology, and entrepreneurship. The peacock doesn't just attract attention, it attracts opportunity. Let's break it down. There are 3 primary breeds known across the world today. 1. The Indian blue peacock, vibrant, elegant, and hardy. It's the most common species, easily adaptable to climates across Asia and the Americas. Its feathers are the very definition of visual magic, deep cobalt blues blending with shimmering greens and golds. 2. The Java green peacock, larger, rarer, and even more majestic. Native to Southeast Asia, its neck glows like liquid jade. Its body built like a warrior bird. These are the premium edition of peacocks, often used in high-end eco-parks and resorts. 3. The white peacock, a rare genetic variant that seems carved out of moonlight. Pure white feathers, crystalline eyes, and ethereal beauty. Its rarity gives it enormous market value. Collectors will pay thousands for a breeding pair. Each one is more than a creature, it's a brand category. And in today's market of aesthetic-driven lifestyles, where people pay for experiences, not just products, the peacock fits perfectly. In the United States, we see trends like luxury backyard farming, eco-lodges, and living art gardens taking off. Homeowners are transforming empty lawns into micro-farms. Influencers are filming daily life with ducks, quails, or alpacas. Now, peacocks are entering that space, offering not just content, but credibility. Because while others are decorating their gardens with plastic statues, you could be raising living jewels. Let's do the math. The initial investment for a small setup, say, 5 to 7 adult birds, can cost between $3 and $5. That includes fencing, shade, feed, and breeding pairs. Within a year, the return can double or even triple depending on your model. Selling chicks, feathers, or live displays. In Vietnam, farmers already prove this model works. One engineer turned his 4,000 square meter land into a thriving peacock sanctuary. His birds sell to resorts, parks, and collectors. His profit? Hundreds of millions of dong each year, roughly equivalent to $10-15 annually. And that's just from local markets. So why not adapt that for the American backyard economy, where luxury, sustainability, and content creation collide? Peacocks fit the mindset of modern American eco-farmers perfectly. They're visually stunning, ideal for agritourism or Airbnb farms. They're eco-friendly, reducing pest populations naturally. They're profitable long-term, they live up to 15 years, laying up to 20 eggs per season. They're resilient, thriving in diverse climates, from Texas plains to Florida homesteads. This isn't fantasy, it's functional elegance. Think of it this way, owning peacocks today is like owning a rare vintage car that appreciates in value, except it's alive, self-replicating, and feeding your brand at the same time. And just like the bird's symbolism, renewal, protection, prosperity, peacock farming offers that same cycle in real life. You invest beauty, and it returns wealth. That's why in Southeast Asia, peacock feathers are placed in homes for good luck. In feng shui, they attract abundance. In Hindu temples, they represent honesty and integrity. These beliefs aren't just cultural, they're emotional. And emotional value drives markets. If you think about it, people pay thousands for dogs that don't bring any economic return. But a single peacock can do both, enrich your heart and your bank account. And that's where the new generation of farmers is stepping in. They understand that agriculture doesn't have to be dirty or industrial anymore. It can be clean, creative, and profitable, all at once. In Vietnam, smallholder farmers use the peacock as a model of low-maintenance income. In America, homesteaders are adopting it as a lifestyle brand. The connection between the two cultures is clear: respect for beauty, harmony with nature, and smart use of land. When you raise peacocks, you don't just raise birds, you raise your status. You raise curiosity, traffic, and income. Every visitor becomes a potential customer. Every feather a conversation starter. Every video a viral opportunity. Because in the digital age, attention is currency, and no creature captures attention like a peacock. So, when you look at that shimmering display of colors, remember, what you're seeing isn't just nature showing off. It's the blueprint of a new kind of wealth. A wealth that combines aesthetics, sustainability, and storytelling into one graceful package. From sacred temples to smart farms, from myth to market, the peacock remains what it has always been: a symbol of abundance. Only now, that abundance is measurable in dollars, views, and dreams achieved. The bird of kings has entered the age of creators and entrepreneurs. And it's here to remind us that sometimes, the best business plan begins with a single feather. Part 3: The Backyard Blueprint. Building your peacock farm from scratch. Every great empire starts with a single foundation, and in the world of peacock farming, that foundation begins right in your backyard. You don't need acres of land, heavy machinery, or endless labor. All you need is a small, sunny piece of ground, a bit of creativity, and the courage to think differently. The peacock doesn't demand luxury, it creates it. Imagine stepping outside each morning to see these magnificent birds strutting gracefully across your garden. Their shimmering feathers dance under the light, and every visitor who walks through your gate stops in awe. That's not just beauty, it's brand value. You've turned your backyard into a living attraction. Choosing the right place. Your first task is to find the perfect location. It doesn't need to be massive, just smartly designed. Choose a dry, elevated area that won't flood during the rainy season. Make sure it's quiet and peaceful. Peacocks thrive in calm environments where they can roam freely and feel secure. If you're in the suburbs, plant a few shade trees or tall shrubs to create a natural canopy. This not only provides cover but also transforms the space into a lush habitat that mirrors their wild origins. A few flower beds, a small pond, Or a wooden perch can turn your simple enclosure into a royal sanctuary. Designing the royal habitat. For 5 to 7 adult peacocks, a space of about 300 to 400 square feet is ideal. Give each bird room to stretch, walk, and display its feathers. The fence should be tall, around 10 to 12 feet high, because peacocks love to roost at elevated spots. Use fine wire mesh or netting to protect them from predators while keeping the environment airy. The flooring can be sand, soil, or a mix of both. It's easy to clean and allows the birds to forage naturally. Add a few wooden beams or tree branches for them to perch on. This simple touch reduces stress and keeps them active. Remember, happy peacocks are healthy peacocks, and healthy peacocks are profitable. When it comes to shelter, think balance. Protection from harsh weather but open enough for fresh air and sunlight. A tin or palm leaf roof works well. For cold regions, add insulated corners or simple heat lamps during winter. The natural aesthetic. A major advantage of peacock farming is how visually stunning it looks. Unlike poultry barns or industrial sheds, a peacock garden can double as a showpiece. It's where agriculture meets aesthetics. Your farm becomes your brand. Every photo, every video, every visitor becomes an opportunity to promote your lifestyle, eco-friendly, elegant, and entrepreneurial. In fact, many American homesteaders now integrate peacock habitats into their landscape design. They combine flower gardens, koi ponds, and peacock enclosures to create backyard ecosystems that attract both tourists and buyers. It's nature turned into income. Budget and setup. Let's talk numbers. Setting up a small-scale peacock farm doesn't require breaking the bank. Land preparation. Minimal, just clear and level your chosen area. Fencing and shelter. $400 to $600 for mesh, poles, and roofing. Feed and water setup. $100 to $150 for feeders, containers, and water troughs. Initial birds. A breeding pair costs between $600 and $1, depending on the species. Within $1.500 to $2, you can launch your mini royal farm, a venture that not only beautifies your home but also starts generating revenue within the first year. A sustainable circle. Peacocks are surprisingly efficient in their environment. They're not wasteful or high maintenance. They thrive on a mix of grains, greens, and insects, many of which they find themselves. Their waste becomes organic fertilizer, enriching the soil naturally. That means your farm doesn't just stay clean, it gets better over time. Each season, the soil grows richer, the plants grow healthier, and the birds grow stronger. This circular system, the bioloop, is what makes peacock farming both eco-friendly and profitable. Beyond farming, creating experiences. Here's the secret that top eco-farmers have discovered. People don't just pay for products, they pay for experiences. When you build your backyard peacock habitat, you're not just raising birds. You're creating an experience, a micro-sanctuary where visitors can feel peace, beauty, and connection with nature. In the US, Airbnb hosts and eco-lodge owners are using this exact model to attract guests. They don't advertise rooms, they advertise royal gardens with live peacocks. Guests pay premium prices for that sense of wonder. That's the power of perception. A bird that once symbolized royalty now symbolizes modern creativity. Step into the movement. Think of your farm not just as a place to raise animals but as part of a global wave of ethical luxury farming, where entrepreneurs are proving that beauty and profit can coexist. Across Vietnam, farmers raise peacocks under open skies, blending ancient harmony with modern business. Across America, homesteaders are doing the same, proving that a touch of elegance can turn a simple backyard into a sustainable empire. And the numbers don't lie. One small flock can generate hundreds to thousands in annual profit, not counting the added value of feathers and chicks. Over time, you're not just maintaining birds, you're building a brand that embodies sustainability, beauty, and purpose. Because when people see your peacocks, they don't just see animals, they see aspiration. They see freedom. They see balance. They see wealth done differently. That's the future of farming. Smaller, smarter, more meaningful. So before you think you need acres of farmland or a big investment, take another look at your backyard. That patch of grass could be your next empire. All it takes is imagination, and a few feathers. Part 4: The Royal Diet that's surprisingly simple. You might imagine that a bird as regal as the peacock eats like a monarch, rare seeds, exotic fruits, or something that costs a fortune. But the truth will surprise you. The royal bird is an unpretentious diner. The secret to successful peacock farming lies in one fact. These birds are low-cost omnivores. They eat almost anything a small farm already produces. They thrive on simplicity. A feast fit for royalty, but grown in your backyard. Let's start with the basics. Peacocks love grains. Rice, corn, wheat, and soybeans form the foundation of their diet. Most farmers use a blend of 60% poultry feed, 30% corn, and 10% soy or mealworms, giving them balanced nutrition for feather quality and muscle growth. They also enjoy fresh greens, spinach, cabbage, lettuce, morning glory, banana leaves, and even water hyacinth. These vegetables help keep their digestive system healthy and their feathers radiant. The vibrant color of their plumage reflects what they eat. More greens equal more gleam. For an extra boost of protein, add earthworms, grasshoppers, or crickets, especially during the breeding season when they need extra energy. In rural Vietnam, farmers simply let peacocks roam gardens to find insects naturally. American farmers can do the same by allowing partial free-range access around orchards or vegetable plots. And then there's the calcium factor. Peacocks need strong bones and dazzling feathers. So crushed seashells, bone meal, or oyster shells should be part of their weekly supplement. Water is non-negotiable. Always provide fresh, clean water, replaced daily. Peacocks drink often, and poor water hygiene is one of the leading causes of disease. The daily feeding routine. Peacocks love rhythm. A consistent schedule keeps them calm and healthy. Morning. Offer grains and greens. They'll peck at food leisurely while soaking in sunlight. Afternoon. Add protein-rich treats like worms or crickets, especially for breeding pairs. Evening. Check water, clean up leftovers, and refresh the area to prevent pests. This simple habit, feed twice a day, keep things clean, will ensure happy, productive birds. Nutrition equals color, and color equals cash. Here's a fascinating fact. The radiance of a peacock's feathers directly reflects its nutrition. A poorly fed bird will lose luster, while a well-fed one becomes a walking rainbow. When buyers come to choose peacocks, they don't just look at size, they look at shine. The glossier the tail, the higher the price. A healthy male with full plumage can fetch twice the value of a dull one. So feeding isn't just care, it's marketing. Each kernel of corn, each green leaf, each insect, every bite contributes to the bird's brilliance. And brilliance sells. The cost advantage. Unlike industrial poultry, peacocks are economical. They require far less feed per body weight. A grown peacock eats roughly the same as a turkey, but fetches 3 to 5 times the market value. In mixed farms, smart farmers reuse leftovers, rice husks, vegetable scraps, insect larvae from compost piles, to feed their birds. The result? Lower costs, higher returns, and zero waste. It's a perfect biocircular economy, where nothing goes unused. Even the manure becomes an asset, an organic fertilizer that enriches fruit trees and gardens. When you design your farm this way, your birds don't just survive, they participate in a self-sustaining ecosystem that keeps both nature and your wallet happy. The secret of seasonal feeding. In tropical regions like Southeast Asia, farmers adjust feeding based on seasons. More protein during the wet months when birds molt or breed. More greens and grains during dry months. In the US, where seasons are distinct, this adjustment matters even more. Spring. Focus on protein, worms, mealworms, crickets, to prepare for breeding. Summer. Increase hydration and greens to help them stay cool. Fall. Mix grains with calcium-rich supplements for feather regeneration. Winter. Add a little fat, corn and soybean meal, for warmth and energy. That's the beauty of peacocks, they adapt easily. They don't demand high-tech feed formulas. Just natural, balanced nutrition. Hygiene, the unsung hero. Feed can build wealth, but poor hygiene can destroy it overnight. Always keep feeding areas dry. Wet feed breeds bacteria and parasites. Clean troughs daily, and use raised feeders if possible to prevent contamination. If you see droppings mixing with food, remove and disinfect the area. Once or twice a week, sprinkle a little salt or lime powder on the ground. This simple act keeps harmful microbes at bay and prevents foot rot. Peacocks are hardy, but disease thrives where dirt stays. Remember, cleanliness isn't luxury, it's protection for your investment. Beyond food, the mood factor. Here's something few farmers talk about. Peacocks eat better when they're happy. These birds are emotional creatures. They like calm music, open spaces, and familiar voices. Farmers in Vietnam often talk to their birds while feeding them. The sound builds trust. Over time, the birds grow tame, confident, and willing to perform their iconic tail displays. Those displays aren't just for show, they're signs of health and comfort. When a peacock fans its tail confidently, it's at peak physical and mental condition, and that's when it's most valuable. Feed them like royalty, watch them pay you back. You see, feeding peacocks isn't about extravagance, it's about efficiency with elegance. Every scoop of grain, every leaf, every drop of water plays a role in turning simple care into compound profit. When you feed them naturally, they reward you abundantly: glowing feathers, strong eggs, and reliable breeding. You're not just maintaining birds, you're maintaining an income stream. From Asia's traditional farms to American homesteads, one truth echoes across every successful peacock operation. The more natural the feed, the higher the yield, and the brighter the bird. Because in the end, the peacock reminds us of something profound. Beauty doesn't come from excess. It comes from balance. Feed them with care, feed them with purpose, and soon, you'll find that every color in their feathers reflects your own success. Part 5: Hatching Profits. How to turn feathers into fortune. One egg at a time. Every empire begins with birth. In the world of peacocks, that birth happens quietly, inside a warm nest or an incubator humming with life. If you've ever watched a peacock chick break through its shell, you've witnessed something extraordinary: a tiny, fragile creature that could one day wear a crown of colors worth thousands of dollars. That's not just nature, it's opportunity. Because breeding and hatching aren't just parts of the process, they're where the real profit begins. The royal rhythm of life. A peacock reaches maturity around 2 to 3 years of age, and once it does, nature takes over with precision. Breeding season usually runs from March to August, the time of warmth, light, and abundance. During this period, the male puts on his grandest show. He spreads his massive fan of feathers, shimmering in sunlight, vibrating slightly as he dances and calls to the females. It's not just courtship, it's performance art. And for the farmer, it's the signal that business is about to bloom. A healthy peahen can lay 4 to 6 eggs per clutch, and up to 20 eggs per season. Each egg is a small, ivory-colored vessel of potential profit. But those eggs need care, because how you handle them determines everything that follows. Natural versus artificial incubation. There are 2 ways to hatch your success: the natural way and the controlled way. Natural incubation means letting the mother do the work. It's beautiful to watch, a pure, ancient process. The peahen builds a nest, usually in a quiet corner, and guards it fiercely. The incubation lasts about 27 to 29 days, and the temperature of her body remains a steady miracle of biology. This method is perfect for small-scale or free-range farmers. It costs nothing, and the survival rate is high if the environment is safe and clean. But if you're scaling up, if you're building a real business, then it's time to bring in the machines. Artificial incubation gives you control. You decide the temperature, 37.5 degrees Celsius or 99.5 degrees Fahrenheit, and humidity, 60 to 65%. You monitor the process, candle the eggs every few days, and track progress like a scientist. It might sound technical, but the beauty of modern incubation machines is that they do most of the work for you. You just need consistency and patience. With incubators, you can hatch dozens, even hundreds of chicks a year. That means not only faster growth but predictable revenue. Imagine starting with just 5 breeding pairs. Each female lays about 15 eggs a season. That's 75 eggs total. Even with a conservative hatch rate of 80%, that's 60 chicks, each worth anywhere from $50 to $150, depending on the breed. That's a potential $3-9 in one cycle, from birds that will keep producing for years. Raising the royal chicks. The first month is everything. Peacock chicks are delicate, like silk threads, strong only when properly woven. For the first week, they need warmth. Keep the brooder temperature around 86 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit, 30 to 32 degrees Celsius. And ensure constant airflow. Too cold, and they huddle. Too hot, and they weaken. Feed them a simple, high-protein starter mix, finely crushed corn, ground soybean meal, or specialized chick starter. Some farmers add boiled egg yolk or vitamin powder for extra strength. And always provide clean, warm water. By week 3, they start developing personality, curious, playful, and surprisingly bold. You can begin introducing greens and small insects. After 1 month, they can slowly transition to the same diet as adult peacocks. Keep their enclosure dry, well lit, and predator-proof. Their feathers will grow faster, and their survival rate will soar. A healthy chick can reach market age in 6 to 8 months. Ready to sell as young breeding stock. The science of success. Here's where smart farmers set themselves apart. They track everything. Temperature, humidity, laying dates, hatch rates. These aren't just numbers, they're your compass. By recording every cycle, you start seeing patterns. Which females lay more? Which eggs hatch best? Which feeding formulas produce stronger chicks? This transforms your farm from a hobby into a system. And systems scale. Once you know your ratios, you can expand with precision, buying more incubators, selecting the best pairs, and building predictable income cycles. It's how small farms turn into sustainable empires. Turning chicks into cash. Now let's talk business. Peacock chicks are one of the most profitable livestock products in the ornamental bird market. At just 2 to 3 months old, they already attract collectors, hobbyists, and small resort owners looking to start their own flocks. Each pair sells for $60 to $100 depending on region, breed, and demand, but it doesn't stop there. Feathers. As chicks mature, they begin molting annually. Even a single adult male can shed 200 plus feathers per year, each selling for $5 to $20 in crafts and decor. Manure. Rich in nitrogen. Peacock droppings make excellent organic fertilizer, another small but steady income stream. Breeding rights. High-quality birds with perfect feather symmetry can command breeding fees or premium prices. When combined, these streams form a stable, recurring revenue cycle, something traditional farming rarely guarantees. A legacy that repeats itself. Every egg you hatch today is a seed of tomorrow's success. Peacocks live long lives, up to 15 or even 20 years. That means a single breeding pair could generate hundreds of offspring over time. Once your system stabilizes, you can reinvest profits into infrastructure, marketing, or expansion. And just like that, you're no longer a small farmer. You're a peacock breeder, a supplier for resorts, eco parks, and luxury estates. It's not just farming anymore, it's legacy building. Because every feather that falls, every chick that hatches, every customer that smiles when they see your birds, that's your story written in color. The art of patience. There's one final lesson peacocks teach their keepers. Patience is power. You can't rush an egg. You can't force a chick to grow faster. Success comes quietly, day by day, hour by hour, through warmth, care, and observation. And then, one morning, you step into your farm and see a trail of newborn chicks following their mother through the grass. The sunlight catches their downy wings, and for a brief moment, you realize, this isn't just farming. It's art. It's life. It's wealth unfolding, one hatch at a time. Part 6: Smart Farming Secrets. Low effort, high reward. Every successful farmer knows, profit isn't just in the product, it's in the system. You can have the best birds, the finest feed, and the richest soil, but if your process isn't smart, you'll end up working harder and earning less. That's why modern peacock farmers have shifted from traditional caretakers to strategic managers. Their secret? Efficiency through simplicity, the art of doing less while earning more. The mindset shift. Raising peacocks isn't about chasing quantity, it's about nurturing quality. You're not running a poultry factory, you're running a living luxury brand. Your goal isn't to produce hundreds of birds quickly, it's to produce a smaller number of high-value, healthy, visually stunning peacocks that command premium prices. Think like a designer, not a laborer. When you focus on design, your habitat, feeding system, workflow, everything aligns around balance and profit. That's smart farming. Automation, the silent partner. Modern technology has made it easier than ever to manage even exotic birds like peacocks. Today's farmers use tools that monitor temperature, lighting, and security, all without stepping outside. Smart cameras, like Wise or Blink, let you check your flock from your phone anytime. IoT temperature sensors alert you when it's too hot or cold for the chicks. Automatic feeders and waterers ensure consistent nutrition, even when you're away. Solar-powered lights or heaters keep your energy bills low and your birds warm in winter. These aren't luxuries, they're investments. Each device saves time, reduces errors, and prevents losses. A well-placed camera or feeder could save you hundreds in bird replacements or vet bills. So, while old-school farmers spend their mornings filling troughs, modern peacock breeders are sipping coffee, checking live feeds, and planning their next expansion. The power of prevention. You don't need to be a vet to keep peacocks healthy, you just need discipline. Healthy environments make healthy birds. Follow the golden trio: clean, dry, and bright. Clean. Remove leftover food daily. Wash water trays. Replace bedding regularly. Dry. Avoid damp soil or puddles. Humidity breeds bacteria and parasites. Bright. Peacocks love sunlight. It strengthens bones, brightens feathers, and boosts immunity. Once a week, sprinkle coarse salt or lime powder across the ground to sterilize naturally. It's cheap and effective. For disease prevention, simple measures go a long way. Add probiotics to feed once a month. It costs pennies but strengthens digestion. Use mild antibiotics like amoxicillin only when necessary, not routinely. Quarantine any new or sick birds immediately. In tropical regions, some farmers mix turmeric powder or garlic juice into feed as a natural antimicrobial, and guess what? It works beautifully. Smart farming is less about medicine, more about maintenance. The seasonal strategy. Every season brings its own rhythm, and successful farmers adapt, not react. Spring, the start of the breeding season. Increase protein feed, inspect nests daily. Summer, watch for heat stress. Provide shade, fresh water, and cooling areas. Fall, molting time. Add minerals and calcium for feather regrowth. Winter, protect against cold drafts. Add straw bedding or simple plastic covers. The secret isn't fighting nature, it's flowing with it. When you respect the bird's natural cycle, your workload drops by half and productivity doubles. Observation, your most valuable tool. You don't need fancy machines to detect problems, your eyes are often enough. Every morning, walk through your farm quietly. Watch how the birds behave. A healthy peacock struts proudly, eats eagerly, and reacts to movement. A sick one isolates itself, droops its tail, or breathes heavily. Catch illness early, and recovery is quick and cheap. Wait too long, and you might lose an entire season's profit. Experienced farmers say, the best medicine is your attention. 10 minutes of observation daily can save you thousands in losses yearly. The art of feather care. Remember, the peacock's value lies in its feathers. They are your gold mine. So caring for them is caring for your income. Avoid overcrowding. Birds rubbing against each other can damage tail plumes. Keep perches smooth and wide, so feathers don't bend or break. During molting season, collect naturally shed feathers. Never pluck. It stresses the bird and lowers quality. After collection, clean feathers gently with a dry cloth. Then store them in paper tubes or breathable bags. Avoid plastic. Humidity ruins color and texture. Each perfect feather can fetch $10 to $20 or more in crafts, jewelry, or decor markets. Treat them like fine silk. The economics of efficiency. Smart farming is about balance, minimizing input, maximizing output. Let's look at numbers. If you raise 10 peacocks under a traditional system, you might spend $1 a year on feed, care, and utilities. Using automation, solar lights, and natural feed sources, you can cut that down to $600, a 40% saving. At the same time, cleaner, happier birds produce higher quality feathers and offspring, increasing your revenue by 30 to 50%. Less work, lower cost, higher profit. That's the definition of smart. Turning observation into art. Smart farming isn't mechanical, it's mindful. It's watching your peacocks dance in sunlight and knowing that every movement tells a story. It's understanding when to intervene and when to let nature lead. You're not just a farmer, you're a curator of beauty. Each sound, color, and habit of your birds is part of your living portfolio. When guests or buyers visit your farm, they don't just see birds, they feel balance. They see harmony. They see luxury and sustainability blended perfectly. And that's what sells. Low effort, high reward. At the heart of it all, peacock farming rewards consistency over intensity. You don't need to do everything, just the right things. Every day. Watch, feed, clean, record, repeat. Nature will handle the rest. Soon, you'll realize that wealth doesn't always come from hustle, it often comes from harmony. And the peacock, in all its elegance, is proof of that truth. Work smart, not hard. Because when you farm like nature intended, your birds won't just grow, they'll thrive. And so will you. Part 7 From Backyard to Brand. How to turn your farm into a living luxury business. The truth about modern farming is simple. You're not just raising animals, you're building a brand. When people visit your backyard, they're not only seeing birds, they're experiencing a story of beauty, sustainability, and purpose. And when that story is told right, it sells itself. That's the magic of peacock farming. It's not just agriculture. It's a lifestyle brand waiting to happen. Step 1. Know your market. Every successful farmer turned entrepreneur begins with the same realization. You're not selling birds, you're selling meaning. So, who buys peacocks? Luxury estates and resorts that want to add exotic charm to their gardens. Eco parks and wedding venues seeking natural attractions that symbolize prosperity. Collectors and ornamental bird enthusiasts who crave rare colors or species. Content creators and influencers who see peacocks as perfect subjects for visual storytelling. In the United States, the ornamental bird industry is quietly thriving. Small breeders are partnering with local designers, florists, and eco-lodge owners to supply birds or feathers for decoration and events. You're not competing with industrial farms. You're serving niche markets with high margins, and that's where true wealth hides. Step 2. Diversify like nature. Nature never puts all its energy in one direction, and neither should you. Successful peacock farmers understand that profit doesn't just come from selling live birds. It comes from multiple income streams. Chicks and breeders, the foundation of your business. Sell young birds to hobbyists or new farmers. Feathers. Molted feathers are collected yearly. One bird can drop over 200 feathers, each fetching $5 to $20 in art stores or online. Organic fertilizer. Peacock manure is a natural soil booster, perfect for selling to gardeners. Tours and experiences. Invite visitors to your farm. A guided, royal garden tour, or peacock encounter, can bring in weekend income. Social media content. Every feather spread, every sunrise shot is digital gold. Monetize it on YouTube, TikTok, or Instagram. You're not just a farmer, you're a creator, educator, and brand ambassador for sustainable luxury. Step 3. Design your brand. In business, perception is everything. Your goal is to make people feel that what you offer isn't just practical, it's precious. Give your farm a name that evokes elegance and legacy. Something like The Feathered Kingdom, Blue Majesty Farm, Royal Roots Homestead, Emerald Grove Estates. Create a logo, a minimalist peacock feather, golden crown, or elegant silhouette. Add it to packaging, videos, and even your farm gate. Your audience, especially in the US and Europe, responds to emotionally designed branding. They want to feel the story behind the product. Step 4. Social media, your free global marketplace. Peacock farming is visually irresistible. That's your advantage. Use platforms like YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram to showcase your daily life, feeding routines, chicks hatching, feather collection, garden tours. Post regularly. Engage sincerely. Show both the beauty and the reality. A single viral clip of a peacock opening its tail in slow motion, with the right caption, turning nature into art, can reach millions. That visibility builds your farm's reputation faster than any ad campaign could. Optimize with smart hashtags. Hashtag peacock farming, hashtag sustainable luxury, hashtag homestead wealth, hashtag backyard profit, hashtag eco business, hashtag nature goldmine. And when you speak on camera, remember this line. Here, we don't raise animals, we raise beauty, and beauty pays the bills. That's the kind of message people remember and share. Step 5. Seasonal sales strategy. In farming, timing can multiply profits. For peacock sales, demand peaks during holidays and wedding seasons, when resorts and venues want to impress guests. Spring-summer, sell breeders and chicks. High demand for new stock. Fall-winter, focus on feather crafts, decor, and online sales, perfect for gift markets. Late year, prepare social content and promotions, a touch of royalty for your garden. Peacocks are seasonal in both breeding and buying. When you align your marketing calendar with that rhythm, you'll sell smarter, not harder. Step 6. Price like a professional. Don't undersell your work. You're not selling chickens, you're selling living art. Base your prices on 3 factors. 1. Breed and rarity, Indian blue less than Java green less than white mutation. 2. Feather condition, symmetry, color saturation. 3. Behavior and tameness, trained or display birds can double in value. In America, average market prices are: chicks, 2 to 3 months, $60 $100 per pair. Adults, 1 to 2 years, $600 minus $1 per pair. White or trained peacocks, $1.500 plus. Your margins are massive if you focus on quality and presentation. Step 7. Turn visitors into customers. Whether it's an open farm day or a simple backyard visit, remember, people buy what they feel connected to. Let them experience your birds. Offer photo sessions. Let guests feed the peacocks. Sell souvenirs, feathers in frames, postcards, or handmade jewelry. When people see how calm and radiant your birds are, they won't just want to take pictures, they'll want to take part in the story. And that's when a visitor becomes a customer, and a customer becomes a supporter. Step 8. Collaborate to scale. No empire grows alone. Partner with local eco-lodges, landscape designers, florists, or luxury wedding planners. Offer birds, feathers, or rental experiences for their events. In Vietnam, farmers have already done this successfully, selling birds to resorts and even exporting to regional zoos. American entrepreneurs can do the same. With the rise of farm tourism and eco-weddings, partnerships are the fastest route to expansion. Beauty that sells itself. Every successful peacock farmer eventually realizes something profound. You're not pushing a product. You're offering a vision, a way of life that combines beauty, business, and balance. When people step onto your farm, they don't just see birds, they see what's possible. A dream that's real, tangible, and profitable. And that dream is what keeps them coming back, clicking follow, and telling the world about you. Because in an era where people chase digital illusions, you're giving them something rare, living, breathing elegance. And that elegance pays. Part 8 Real Success Stories. From Vietnam to the world. Every movement needs proof, real people, real results. And peacock farming has them in abundance. From the rice fields of Vietnam to the quiet backyards of America. These success stories share a common thread: vision, patience, and passion for beauty that pays. Let's meet the farmers who turned feathers into fortunes. The engineer who traded machines for feathers. In a small province of Hai Duong, Vietnam, lived Nguyen Van Phuong, a mechanical engineer who once spent his days among engines and noise. One day, he quit it all and went back home, to peace, to soil, and to something unexpected: peacocks. He started small, just 10 pairs of Indian blue peacocks on a 4.000 square meter garden. Within a few months, visitors began to stop by, first out of curiosity, then out of admiration. Soon, word spread that his shimmering birds weren't just beautiful, they were profitable. Within 2 years, Nguyen sold over 200 breeding pairs at $60 to $100 each and another 50 adult pairs for around $800 to $1.000 each. He earned the equivalent of $20 a year, not bad for something that started as a weekend hobby. He reinvested his profits into expanding the habitat, planting fruit trees and flowers, creating an ecosystem where his birds could thrive naturally. His secret? The birds make you rich when they're happy, he said. No complex equipment, no industrial feed, just harmony. Today, his farm attracts eco-tourists, students, and resort owners alike. What once was a backyard is now an empire of color and sound. The gardener who turned his backyard into gold. Far to the south, in Soc Trang, another farmer, Ma Duc Tin, began his journey with only 5 pairs of peacocks. His land was modest, just 500 square meters, smaller than some suburban lawns in America. But his mindset was huge. He noticed something clever: his peacocks thrived best when allowed to roam among fruit trees. The insects from the garden became natural protein, the fallen fruit served as treats. His cost of feed dropped by 40%, and his birds stayed healthy and vibrant. Within 5 years, Ma's flock grew from 5 pairs to 50. Each year, he sold 30 to 40 young pairs, earning about $12 annually, a comfortable living in his region. And he wasn't just farming, he was innovating. He installed solar cameras to monitor the birds and prevent predators. He used leftover peacock manure as fertilizer, turning waste into value. His proudest achievement wasn't money, it was harmony. The more natural the farm, he said, the more the birds reward you. The peacock whisperer who sells to resorts. Up north in Bac Ninh, Nguyen Hu Khoi, nicknamed the Peacock Whisperer, built a farm that looked like something out of a fairy tale. His secret weapon wasn't just breeding, it was training. He taught his peacocks to respond to music and movement. Each morning, as the sun rose, he would whistle softly. The birds would fan their tails and dance, their feathers catching fire under the light. That performance became his brand. Soon, resorts and luxury gardens began calling. They didn't just want peacocks, they wanted trained performers. Koi sold his best males for up to $1.200 each. Double the market rate. Some resorts paid even more for birds that danced on cue. His 1.000 square meter farm now holds about 50 pairs. And his yearly income surpasses $15-20, all from nature and a little patience. He smiles when asked about his success. I didn't teach them to dance. I just gave them music worth dancing to. The American connection. Across the ocean, the same dream is unfolding in backyards from Texas to Florida. In the small town of Gainesville, Florida, a couple named Jake and Melissa Harper turned their half-acre property into a peacock paradise. They began with 3 birds as pets but soon realized they were sitting on a business opportunity. Their videos, showing vibrant males displaying feathers beside their pond, went viral on TikTok, attracting millions of views. Soon, people began asking to visit. They started charging small entry fees for family tours and selling feathers on Etsy. Within 6 months, their hobby became a steady side income, $800 to $1.000 per month, mostly from online sales and farm visits. Their story spread through local news, inspiring other Americans to consider peacocks not as pets, but as potential partners in sustainable income. The numbers behind the beauty. Let's put the numbers in perspective. A small-scale operation, starting with about 5 breeding pairs, generally requires an initial investment of $2,000 to $3,000. Under normal conditions, such a setup can bring in $4,000 to $6,000 per year, which works out to a return on investment between 150 and 200%. A perfect entry point for beginners or hobby farmers who want to learn the rhythm of peacock care before scaling up. A medium-sized farm of roughly 20 pairs usually needs $6,000 to $10,000 in startup costs. Once the breeding cycles and sales stabilize, this model often generates $12,000 to $18,000 annually, delivering an ROI of around 180 to 250%. It's the sweet spot for serious homesteaders or eco-farm owners looking to balance lifestyle and profit. Finally, a professional-level venture, about 50 pairs or more, can cost between $15,000 and $25,000 to establish. At that scale, with reliable buyers and perhaps tourism or feather sales added in, yearly revenue can reach $30,000 to $50,000 or more, producing an impressive 200 to 400% return. This is the model for full-time breeders, eco-resorts, or entrepreneurs turning their farms into both a business and a destination. Across all scales, the pattern is clear. The more space and consistency you invest, the more nature rewards you with color, elegance, and exceptional profit potential. Few farming models offer this balance of profitability, sustainability, and aesthetic appeal. You're not tied to market volatility or feed shortages. You're operating in a niche with steady, growing demand. And unlike most livestock, peacocks appreciate in value. The older and more impressive the bird, the higher its price. That's what makes them truly royal. They grow in worth over time. The global message. These farmers, Vietnamese or American, share the same lesson. Success doesn't require massive land or industrial tools. It requires vision, respect for nature, and consistency. From Asia's tropical gardens to America's suburban lawns, the story repeats. Small dreams, nurtured daily, bloom into lasting wealth. And behind every one of these success stories, one image remains constant. A burst of color, a fan of feathers, a symbol of life that's both graceful and profitable. Peacocks don't just inspire admiration, they inspire action. They remind us that beauty is not wasted when it's harnessed with purpose. So, whether you're a farmer in Vietnam, a homesteader in America, or a dreamer watching from afar, remember this. Your backyard could be the birthplace of something extraordinary. It only takes one bold step, one feather, to begin. Part 9: The Royal Lesson: Building Wealth with Purpose. The story of the peacock isn't just a tale of feathers and fortune. It's a mirror reflecting something deeper. The truth that real wealth comes from harmony with nature, with patience, with vision, Every farmer who chooses to raise peacocks isn't just starting a business. They're stepping into a legacy, one that stretches back thousands of years. From royal palaces and sacred temples to the modern backyard farm. And the lesson remains the same: beauty has value when you nurture it with purpose. The new definition of wealth. For decades, people have chased money through concrete, screens, and chaos, forgetting that nature has always been humanity's most loyal investor. The peacock reminds us of balance. It doesn't rush, it doesn't force growth, yet, every year, it regenerates its splendor, feather by feather, and stands taller, prouder, brighter than before. That's not just biology, that's wisdom. Farming in the 21st century isn't about working harder, it's about working wiser. It's about creating systems that regenerate value instead of consuming it. When you raise peacocks, you're not draining the earth, you're participating in its renewal. You're feeding a cycle of life that rewards you in return. This is what the future of sustainable farming looks like. Clean, profitable, beautiful. A new definition of wealth, one that feeds your soul as much as your wallet. The power of patience. The modern world teaches us impatience. We want fast food, fast success, fast fame. But the peacock teaches the opposite. You can't rush it to spread its feathers. You can't hurry an egg to hatch. You can only create the right conditions, and trust the process. That's how true entrepreneurs succeed. They prepare, observe, and act with timing. The most successful peacock farmers understand this secret. They don't just raise birds, they raise consistency. Day by day, they feed, clean, observe, and adapt. The work isn't glamorous, but the results are living proof that patience compounds like interest. So whether it's your farm, your business, or your personal dream, the rule is the same. Do small things beautifully, and big things will follow naturally. From survival to significance. Most people start farming to survive. But the great ones do it to signify, to leave a mark that outlives them. Peacock farming has become more than a way to make money. It's a way to bring meaning back to the soil, to restore the connection between people and planet. When you raise a peacock, you're preserving biodiversity. You're teaching visitors, children, tourists, and neighbors about conservation and coexistence. And you're creating beauty in a world that desperately needs it. That's significance. That's legacy. In Vietnam, farmers like Nguyen Van Phuong talk about raising hope, because every time a peacock chick hatches, it symbolizes a promise that nature still works, that harmony still pays. And in America, homesteaders echo the same feeling, that living close to nature isn't regression. It's progression, it's freedom. You're not escaping the system, you're building a better one. The ripple effect. Every sustainable act ripples outward. When one farmer turns a backyard into a thriving ecosystem, neighbors notice, communities change, children grow up believing that farming can be cool, clean, and profitable. Imagine thousands of small farms, each one producing not just food, but inspiration. That's not fantasy, it's already happening. You can be part of that wave, not by building a corporation, but by building a culture. When you post your first viral video, when your first customer buys a feather, when your first chick hatches, you're not just making money, you're sending a message. We don't need to destroy to succeed. We can grow through grace. That's what makes this movement unstoppable. Practical wisdom for the dreamer. Let's break it down. If you've read this far, you're probably thinking, how do I start? Here's the royal roadmap. Simplified. 1. Start small. 2 or 3 pairs are enough to learn the rhythm. 2. Invest in comfort, not quantity. Quality, space, and feed matter more than scale. 3. Document everything. Photos, videos, journals. Your journey is your marketing. 4. Sell stories, not just birds. Every feather, every display, every hatch has meaning. 5. Reinvest profits into beauty, trees, gardens, clean enclosures. They attract buyers and joy. 6. Stay consistent. Wealth doesn't appear overnight, It grows quietly. Just like feathers do. If you follow these steps, you'll do more than make money. You'll create a sanctuary, a space where business and nature coexist. Why the world needs this now? In an era of climate anxiety, factory pollution, and soulless work, people are craving authenticity. They want to reconnect with the earth, and they're willing to pay for it. That's why peacock farming isn't just a niche hobby. It's a model for the biocircular economy, a way of earning that restores instead of depletes. Every successful farm becomes a mini ecosystem. Plants feeding insects. Insects feeding birds. Birds feeding soil. Soil feeding plants again. It's the circle of life, not as a Disney song, but as a business model. And guess what? That model works, because it mirrors nature's own design. A legacy in color. At the end of the day, when the sunlight fades and your birds settle for the night, you'll look across your garden and realize something profound. You didn't just build a farm. You built a future. A future where your children learn that wealth can be ethical. Where success smells like rain and sounds like the soft call of peacocks at dusk. Where prosperity and peace no longer compete, they collaborate. That's what the peacock stands for, not vanity, but victory through balance. So when you see those feathers shimmering under the sun, remember, each one is a symbol of what's possible when humans work with nature, not against it. The final call. If this story inspires you, don't wait. Start small. Start today. Find your pair, build your pen, and let your journey begin. Because the world doesn't need more billionaires. It needs more beauty makers, people who turn simplicity into splendor, and splendor into sustainability. And maybe, just maybe, the next great fortune won't come from Silicon Valley, but from your backyard, where a royal bird spreads its tail, and the sunlight reveals your destiny, feather by feather.